The creation of America was a walk through the park, only that the park had tea instead of trees and an endless ocean to dump it in. Today, we'll be going over the independence of one of the world's superpowers, America. You see, the British-owned company, the British East India Company, which primarily exported tea, was running low on sales. Due to this, they had a surplus of over 17 million pounds of tea, just sitting there in their London warehouses. And this was England's biggest and greatest company that generated most of their revenue. So, it is safe to assume they weren't enjoying this. The British then looked to their exports and saw that they were handing over their tea to American merchants over at London at a markup, who would then deliver that tea to the colonies. And so, they thought, why are we handing our tea over to American merchants when we can deliver it there ourselves? I mean, logically speaking, this was costing the company loads of money. The only problem was to figure out how to bypass the Americans. And so came forth the Tea Act of 1733. In this act, they completely wiped out the middleman from the trade and took it upon themselves to deliver the tea, this time at a much lower cost. Of course, the empire was in huge debt following the French and Indian War and wanted to squeeze as much money as possible from the colonies. And so they put out a few not very well received acts, one of them being the Townshend Acts, which heavily taxed the items that most colonists relied on, including, but not limited to, lead, glass, paper, paint, and of course tea. So not only did the merchants have to buy their own tea to sell, but now at a much higher cost following the taxes on it. The backlash from the public was so severe that the Brits repealed all of the acts, other than, of course, the Tea Act. Merchants were furious. Not only did their one good source of income get stripped off of them from the Brits, but now, to even sell their primary product, they would have to buy it and be heavily taxed. The colonists, in turn, completely boycotted British tea, allowing it to sit at the harbour and spoil. The colonial governor at the time ordered the American colonists to buy the tea. But what happened that same day, I think no one expected. A group of 60 Bostonians, who called themselves the Sons of Liberty, silently boarded 3 British East India Company trading ships disguising themselves as official merchants and dumped more than 342 chests filled to the brim with tea. The damages were off the charts, more than $1 million in today's money. This act was named the Boston Tea Party and was celebrated all across the colonies as a symbol of defiance against the British rule. The British, of course, weren't very happy, and so they passed a series of acts which came to be known as the Intolerable Acts, a series of laws which were designed to punish colonial America. They began by closing the main hub for colonial trade, Boston Harbor. Then they imposed martial law in Massachusetts. Thus began the independence of America, but maybe we'll go over that another time. If you enjoyed this video, you'll most probably enjoy the others just like this on our YouTube channel. But until then, make sure your tea is safe.